Am I the idiot for telling my dad cheating is what got us here, not my mom? My parents divorced when I was 7 after my mom found out dad had been cheating on her for 5 years with someone she considered to be her friend. The reveal of the affair came during my birthday party, which we celebrated late because dad made up some story about an old friend dying and going to the funeral when he was actually with her for an ultrasound after learning she was pregnant. My mom never got over what they did to her. I think what made it worse is 2 people betrayed her instead of 1, because if our friends are willing to hurt us like this, then we're screwed. My dad married his affair partner. They have 6 children together now. My mom has stayed away from them as much as humanly possible. She told me a long time ago that she loved me, wanted me to be happy and loved and not to be distant from them for her, but that she would never be able to play happy families with my dad and his wife and their kids because some hurts are too deep and painful to move on from. When stay in place was ordered, things between my mom and dad deteriorated after my dad asked if mom would take his other 6 kids into her home so the siblings could see each other, since both he and his wife were frontline workers and had planned to send them somewhere to limit their exposure. Mom said hell no. She was pissed as hell at dad for asking, while dad was pissed as hell that she didn't force me to go to his in-laws to spend time with my siblings while we weren't legally allowed to meet up with others. Things are the same now. Only my mom suffered less financially through the pandemic. After a while, my dad and his wife left their jobs when it got too much and their financial stability took a huge hit. My dad can't afford to throw a graduation party for me, which is fine. But he and his family are not welcome to the one my mom is hosting. He was bitching about them missing out on celebrating with me because of my mom. I told him it was because of his affair and not my mom. That he was the one who betrayed her over and over again, disrespected her and then expected her to act like none of that happened so he could act like the good guy. He told me it had been a decade and my mom and I should be over it, and I should not have taken sides. I told him he should have kept the affair from me then instead of letting it come out for me to hear. But another element of this story is that the affair first started after my mom almost died losing my sibling. The pregnancy went badly wrong and almost took her and did take her chance to have more children. All the while her husband and friend were getting together behind her back. Now for the next story. Am I the idiot for not talking to my dad after he cheated and got exposed on Facebook? My sister, 22 female, and I, 19 male, were staying together at our flat, then she woke me up suddenly to tell me that my father got exposed on Facebook for cheating. Both of us got DMs from my dad's fling saying that he wanted a prettier girl to fuck and that he was tired of my mom. The fling also posted several screenshots of my father messaging his fling to come to my parents' room at our beach house to do it while my mom is out. My dad cheating is not really news to us anymore. There were a lot of instances wherein my mom caught him cheating, but she forgives him. She says that men will always be men. However, this time his cheating was exposed in social media. The issue reached to his workplace, my sisters, and my friends. And once he knew that we knew, he called us and told us not to do anything about it. I would have let it go, but I won't let go of someone who dissed my mom, so I called the girl, and it was a full 10 minutes of me just saying shit about her. The slut told my dad and he got pissed at me. I also got mad at him for defending his fling. The day after tomorrow, we would be having our weekly family Sunday dinner. The whole time, I didn't even speak to him. He didn't even say sorry about the cheating incident and just acted like everything is normal. I continued to not talk to him and even missed a few dinners. He was there. Around 7 weeks later, he went to our flat, drunk and unannounced, then proceeded to tell me that I'm an ungrateful son for not talking to him. He was telling shit about how he didn't raise me to be a sensitive bitch, and I should thank him for even being born. Basically, he was going off on all unrelated stuff that boosts his ego and justifying that he has nothing to be sorry about. The confrontation thing reached to my mom and she was asking me to be the one to say sorry so this whole thing would be over. I told her I'm not gonna put up with his shit anymore since he often does this whenever he feels cornered, and I'm the one who always backs down. I know I'm not entirely unreasonable, but AITA for not talking to him and not taking the high road. Edit, I didn't call my dad's fling to flip her off because of their relationship. I couldn't care less about what they do. I did it because she was talking shit about my mom. I always see her being mistreated, verbally and sometimes physically, by my father. I'm not gonna let another person drag her. Since she refuses to speak up for herself, then I did what I simply had to do. Now for the next story. Am I the idiot for telling people in school about my dad's affair with his wife? I, 16 male, live with my dad, his wife and the kids they have together who are 12 and 9. I actually had very little contact with my dad until 2 years ago when my mom got sick and ended up in the hospital. She died 3 months after going into the hospital. Then I got stuck with his happy little family. My parents were married when my dad met his wife. She worked with him and they started an affair. The affair only came to light when she got pregnant. I found out about it through my aunt and uncle. I stayed with my mom. Dad sometimes saw me. I have never been afraid to be honest about why I don't like living with my family. I have talked about it in school since I moved in with them, in their small-ass conservative town. Word has gotten out more and my dad's wife found out how people will judge. She was grocery shopping and a friend of hers told her to stay away from her husband. Things got out from there. They also found out I mentioned how my parents' marriage only ended because dad got his wife pregnant during the affair. Their kids never knew about this and found out via mean kids at school. They ended up confronting me over it and I told them they were coming to the wrong person if they wanted an apology, because I didn't give a shit about their feelings or them being embarrassed. Dad told me I had a shitty attitude. I told him he shouldn't expect me to celebrate their affair or their relationship. She then told me if my mom was a good wife and mother my dad never would have strayed in the first place, and that I had the chance to have a family and was punishing them when it wasn't my place. I told her if she ever said anything negative about my mom again then she would be happy to settle for embarrassment, because I would make sure everyone knew just how terrible she is to speak crap about her stepson's dead mom, when she had slept with his father behind his mom's back and helped in the breakdown of his family. They still insist I should not be telling people their personal business and making their lives harder by spreading gossip. Now for the next story. Am I the idiot for uninviting my dad and stepmom from my wedding? My dad cheated on my mom when I was 14. I was the one who discovered the affair. I do know now that my mom was a narcissist and that their relationship was failing, but it doesn't excuse my dad for the pain he caused her and myself. She died when I was 16 and I had to move in with my dad and his wife. I literally can't stand this woman, not just because she's my dad's affair partner, but because she continues to try to take my mom's place. I moved out at 19 and never went back. I am now 29F and my fiancé proposed. Our relationship was a bit of a scandal when it occurred. He was my best friend's ex. She cheated on him. I found it repulsive, and I told him about it the second she confessed it to me. I dialed him right in front of her and told her that she was disgusting. I cut her out of my life and supported him as a friend. 2 years later, we started dating. He proposed in October 2021. We have been together 5 years. My dad and stepmom took me dress shopping last weekend. They are not paying for anything, but my dad offered to buy my dress as a present. I'm not going for a huge expensive gown, which my stepmom disapproves of. So there was already tension because I wasn't taking her advice. She started talking to me about how my relationship started as we were at lunch, and she was concerned that I was marrying my ex-friend's ex. I told her that we didn't intend to start dating, we just sort of happened. She wouldn't drop it, saying it was the 3rd time I have broke the girl code, which was you don't date your friend's ex, but the 2nd time was outing the affair. I looked at my dad who was busying himself with anything but the conversation. I looked at her and said, "No, you broke the morality code by going after a married man. She broke it by cheating on her boyfriend. I'm sorry, I don't condone being a home-wrecking whore." I paid the check and left. My dad went off on me later on the phone, saying my stepmom is crying and says I'm not looking at the full picture. I said she was right, and that I shouldn't dismiss the fact that he was also a home-wrecking asshole, and that placing the onus on her solely was wrong. I Venmo'd him the money for my dress and uninvited them both to the wedding, telling them that maybe it wasn't the best place for homewreckers. Now, half of his side of the family is threatening not to go. I'm a bit hurt, but the ones that matter to me are still planning on attending and have expressed support, including my grandma. My dad is blowing up my phone begging to meet and talk it out. My fiancé said, however, that maybe I shouldn't be so harsh as it's been 15 years and they are still together. The fact he defended them gave me pause. TLDR, after making some comments about girl code because I outed 2 affairs, I uninvited my stepmom and dad from my wedding. My fiancé said maybe I am being too harsh, but I need outside opinions.